The first episode of my podcast. My name's Brian. This is Fans Only Podcast. I had a great time interviewing you slash incredibly shiny Shart or Mr. Shart or whatever the hell he wanted me to call him. He's a really cool dude. I was expecting him to be kind of a freak given the circumstances. So let me just give you a real quick backstory. He's a guy who a couple years back got in a car accident, ended up having to get his foot amputated, and the first thing he decided to do with that foot was eat it. So he's a self-described auto cannibal. That's what he goes by. That's what he calls it. But like I said, I had a lot of fun interviewing him. Just a heads up, there's gonna be some gross images. Honestly, just interviewing him, I was getting queasy. I was holding it back. It was really weird, man. He, it was just gross in general, and the pictures I added don't help. I made sure to blur some of them out, but just keep an eye out for that. One more thing, if you want to email me in to get featured in the next podcast, or if you just want to tell me that I'm fat or I talk funny, you want to send me a funny meme, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Send it all. That's at fansonlypod@gmail.com. Just send them in. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the interview as much as I did. It should be a lot of fun. All right, hey dude, what's up?
Oh, not too much. Enjoying the afternoon.
All right, we're here with Shiny or Mr. Shart. It's cool if I call you that, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. So pretty much let's hop right into it. So you got into this motorcycle accident, which by the way, I'm sorry to hear about. You want to walk me through what happened?
Well, it's one of those weird things where no one expects for it to happen to them. I was just cruising around Memorial Day back in, God, it's almost 5 years ago now.
It's been that long.
And yeah,
Whew.
it's been wild. It's been a crazy couple years.
I mean, I
Cruising
bet.
through the mountains, and this kid wasn't paying attention and pulled across the road. And I thought he was stopped and was going to saw me and was going to wait because he was just sitting there. But right as I got up to him, he hit the gas. Hit the back of my motorcycle, and I fishtailed and flipped into the forest.
That's crazy, man. And then obviously you had to go to the hospital, and you ended up having to get the foot amputated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a whole thing of like trying to make that decision happen and understand everything, what was going on, and that I was doing the right thing there. Because when you're injured like that and you're on all the drugs, it's hard to make good decisions. And so it took me a little while to come around to it.
Yeah. Do you have like people helping you out with all that stuff, like close
I
friends,
had,
family?
yeah, some real close friends. I had one friend who was there every day, and she stayed, half the time at night. My mom came down, and she stayed about 5 weeks with me.
That's
So
crazy.
I
But
had a lot of good friends and family.
so now you have this foot, and obviously you're faced with a choice. You can do what I guess you could say most people would do. Actually, what do most people do with the what do they even do with the amputated limbs usually?
They don't do anything. The hospital goes and incinerates them.
Incinerates? Can you get like the ashes and everything?
No, you can't. If you sign over to the hospital, it's just gone. Just assume that you'll never get any part of it back. And that was my problem, because it's my fucking leg. I want it back. It's mine.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to just like throw it in the garbage and it goes to the landfill. That doesn't honor my foot the way it should be.
What a
That foot
fucking
got me
waste.
around for better than 30 years at that point. There's no way I'm going to let it go.
Dude, if you let that go, that would be ridiculous. It would just be dishonoring your dead amputated foot. There's just no chance you can do that. So obviously you're faced with a decision now. I was reading online, you said you were considering even taxidermying it.
Well, we called about 12 places, and most places either thought that we were joking or that it was sort of scam or something like that. Nobody took us seriously.
I wonder why.
And if they did, they were like, I'm not going to do that. I think nobody wants to taxidermy a human foot. I think that's just kind of, nobody seriously wanted to do it, which is unfortunate. because it would have made a badass doorstop.
You'd really have to turn over some dark stones to find some dude in his basement willing to taxidermy a human foot. But yeah, all right, keep going. I'm interested.
And aside from that, I kind of wanted to freeze dry it because
Right.
it'd be the same thing. I could make some cool little chests to hang on the wall and have my foot in there and stuff like that. But as it came down, that's really expensive. For an 8-pound foot, it would be about $1,200 to go
Jesus.
and freeze dry that thing. And I didn't have that money. So
All
what I
right.
was left with was going the other direction. But the first thing was to get it back. And the doctor told me that he had never been asked to have it back before. So he went and talked with the hospital, and they routed it through the pathology department, and they actually got it back to me, which most people are really surprised and think that's illegal to do, but there's no legality surrounding it. It's all just hospitals don't like to give away limbs because of the liability associated with it. Because some jackass is going to do what I did.
I was gonna say, what's the liability? Like, is this like a common idea that people have?
No, it isn't.
Well,
But
yeah.
there was a.
You have
Go
the
ahead.
foot now. You have the foot now. You're not taxiderming it, so obviously there's only one solution left for it to go down honorably, unless you're gonna do some kind of like Viking funeral. But so you're looking at it. Are you like licking your lips? Is your mouth watering just looking at that foot?
Nah, it was nothing like that. So while I was in the hospital, and I don't remember this, but my friend told me about it at a later time, how that day came around. And I was sitting in the hospital and said, you know what? You know how we always used to joke around about how if we ever get the chance to ethically try some people meat, we do it. And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, man, you should. And I kind of want to do that because then, in a way, it's not really gone because I'm taking a piece of it and it's always going to be with me. And so at that point, he was down.
Dude, literally
And
everyone has asked that same question. Like, would you try it? If there was a way you could try it, would you try it? And you guys really took that seriously, right?
well, I mean, it wasn't serious until I made it serious because we had it. And that's when I called everybody on it. And I think that's a litmus test, right?
Yeah.
Because not everybody does that. There are a whole bunch of people who will never think about that ever in their life. And the idea is just repugnant to them, and that's fine. But then all the fun people really think about this and are like, yeah, I do it. Sure, why not? If it's ethical and safe and humane and nobody's being harmed during it, sure, why not? And those are the people you want to have as friends because they get down.
Yeah, I mean, it's really you're with me or you're against me when it comes to eating your foot. Um, so do you describe yourself as a cannibal now, or is that kind of like a slur?
No, 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 no. I'm an auto cannibal. I eat
Auto
myself.
cannibal. Okay, all right. That makes a lot more sense. So when you ask your friends, what kind of reactions did you get? Was it all yeses? Were they all down? Because if so, you got some cool ass friends. If not, I mean, I don't even know.
I would. So the thing is, I didn't ask everybody because I think there wouldn't have been enough to go around. I had a couple people turn me down,
You got another
but
foot?
I, yeah, but I like it. I want to keep it on. The whole
All
idea
right.
behind this is you don't want things to come off because it's expensive and it's maintenance. It's like $2,000 every year just to keep up with parts. And if I lose weight or gain weight, I have
Dang.
to spend money to get new pieces, and it's a whole thing.
All right. So you definitely want to keep the other. You never look over at old Lefty, and give it a thought.
No, Lefty's gone. Poncho's the
Oh,
only one left now.
right. All right. Yeah. So they're on board with it, right? And you only have a certain amount of meat because, like you said, you only got the one foot. Um, how
Well,
are
it's
you
not
going?
even that, but like I only cut about 2 or 3 ounces off of it because, like I said, my mom's staying with me, so I'm out in the front yard, which has got a fence around it, and I had some friends over, and we were gonna cast the foot
Right.
to try to make a doorstop since I can't make one properly, and so that what I was gonna end up doing was I was gonna cremate it,
Okay.
uh, because that way at least I can have the ashes around. But and people always ask me like, well, why didn't you put it in a jar of formaldehyde or something like that? And I know myself, and that thing would get broken, and then I'd have like this desiccated foot just sitting around, formaldehyde everywhere, and a bunch of broken glass. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
That's
no, that'd
just
be a
too much.
mess. Yeah, that's too much.
So I decided to cremate it. But before I did, I took about 2 or 3 ounces off the shin.
Right.
And I'm doing this out in my front yard, and trying to do it quick and dirty. And so my mom doesn't get her suspicions raised, because I don't need my mom looking at me like that.
Wait,
Like,
so you're doing this like behind her back? You're doing this in private?
yeah, she's in the house, like doing her thing, watching Maury Povich. I don't know. And I set up, and I got a couple friends with me, and I just start, kind of peeling the skin down and cutting off a good chunk.
That's
Put it in a
gnarly.
baggie and then sneak it in the house and put it behind like some stuff in the freezer.
This didn't make you sick at all? Because like I'm just listening to it, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not trying to offend you or your foot, but that's pretty gross. Like you're peeling the skin off of your own foot. That wasn't sickening at all.
I'd say it's one of the most weirdly surreal things I've ever done, because you're holding it, and I'm
Right.
sitting there thinking about it. Okay, this is my foot. It ain't part of me anymore, though. And once it's not part of you, it doesn't seem like a foot. It seems fake. It's just me. So it's weirdly fine. It's weirdly okay.
That's
Where
probably
I'm
the
just sitting
weirdest
there.
part about it is how not weird it is, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you're holding it and you're not like passing out, not getting queasy, and it doesn't even feel like it's a part of you. I'm sure that's like a surreal moment in itself.
Because everybody, I had 4 or 5 people over. They all handled it. They're all picking up, walking around with a foot. Nobody freaked out. I mean, everybody's kind of weirded out by it, but I think it's more, it's the cultural taboo than anything legitimate.
So
Which,
like
that's
once
the
it's in
weirdest
front
part.
of you, it's more normal. Like when you see it on
Yeah.
paper, like from my standpoint, it's real weird. But once you're looking at the foot, holding the foot, passing it around like a hot potato, it's not the same.
No, it it's just a chunk of a piece of something.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. But anyway, how do you? So you peel the skin off. You get how many ounces? You say
Like 2 to 3. It wasn't big.
2 to 3.
This is
Okay.
a little petite sirloin. Not even sirloin. There was no fat on it. It was all like straight meat and tendons. It
Does
was a
it
bad cut of meat.
look like anything like any meat you've seen before?
It just looks like real red meat. It's real deep red.
And if you could liken it to like any other kind of meat you've eaten, is there anything it compares to? And also, is there anything that it's better than, like that you'd actually prefer it to than a normal meat from say a cow or a pig?
I would say I wouldn't prefer it to anything else. Like, it's like, oh, that was amazing,
Yeah.
or anything like that, because it wasn't a good cut of meat. It was, like I said, it was stringy and chewy, uh, and you know we breed animals to taste good, so
Right.
the people is not choice meats. It's not very good. Like, people say it tastes like pig, but I never had pig that tasted like that. Maybe, I'm thinking about this. They call it long pig in Papua New Guinea, and I'm thinking about it.
Long pig.
Like, well, yeah, they call people long pig because it's supposed to
Oh.
taste like pork,
Oh.
but the pork they have over there is nothing like what we have over here, because it's all like wild pigs that are out in the forest,
Right.
which are highly different from anything that we're eating over here.
Right.
So maybe it tastes like wild pig or something like that. To me, it was super beefy. Like, bison is like gamey and stringy and beefy. Maybe like that old steer that's been sitting out in the pasture for 12 years and on its last legs and whatnot.
That's what you
But
like in your own meat too.
yeah, it's not it like it didn't taste bad, mind you.
So
But the texture was terrible.
say you had seen this coming and it's gonna happen either way. if you do you think that there's something you could have done? This is a weird one, so hold on for this one. Do you think that there's something you could have done to make it taste better or worse? Like, when there's chickens, there's free range chickens and there's grass fed cows. Do you think there's a diet, or maybe if you were a different gender or a different race, do you think there's any way you could have raised a more FDA approved prime sirloin foot?
Well, that is interesting. So I don't think race or gender is going to have anything to do with it. Maybe women have more like a higher fat content and whatnot, but you definitely want to, I say, sit around a lot more. I'm thinking like Kobe beef here, right?
Yeah.
Where they have like the beef where they're getting massaged and they're getting fed
Yeah.
beer and they're just kind of chilling out.
You could have gone for that.
If you want a good soft meat that's well marbled, you want to be sitting around a little bit and have a decent diet. So like real clean, like organic foods and sitting around a lot and then getting up and like going on a nice walk, but nothing too strenuous, right?
Right.
And then have like good beer and stuff like that. Just live a really clean life that's kind of sedate and calm, and then hack it off. You probably get a better quality cut from there. But then you'd probably want to also go a different route because my buddy, he marinated it overnight and then sauteed it up like fajitas, which
Right.
was fantastic. I mean, the taste was good, but it came out real stringy. And so I'm thinking if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably sous vide it for a while to try to break down uh, the tendons a little bit so they weren't so chewy.
Really get that slow cook, that perfect temp.
I think that's the right thing to do,
Y-
right?
Right. Do you think you would have paired better with a white or a red wine?
No, definitely had to be a red, maybe like a red and like something with some spiciness, like a Pinot Noir or something like that.
Right. All right. So do you know how this is probably another form of what I would consider cannibalism? Do you know how when babies are born, sometimes the father will eat the placenta? They'll even cook it up, put it in some jerky as kind of a way to form like a bond with the baby, or like a
Well, the moms too, so they get all that energy back. Yeah, no, that's totally fucking cannibalism. What the
well,
cannibal moms out there judging people.
yeah. So one, I would say that what you did is no worse than someone doing that. And two, did you form a fatherly or motherly bond with anyone else who ate
I wouldn't say fatherly or
it?
motherly. I did have, so one friend wasn't able to swallow me. She just chewed and chewed and chewed
Wait, I'm sorry. Did
for
you
like
say she
5 minutes.
she
And
wasn't
she
able?
said, I'm sorry, I have to spit you out. I can't do this anymore.
She's a quitter.
She, she's done plenty in her life, but she did quit that. She spit me into a napkin and we threw me away.
Did you take
And
offense to that?
I didn't because she got mostly tendon and that was horrid. I think she chewed all of it out that she could get.
That's
Uh,
insane.
and then I had another friend call me the next morning and she said, sorry, but I think I pooped you out.
That is probably something that only you can say. I mean, literally, like only you, and obviously, certain people in certain tribes and certain countries can say it as well. And but you're one of the only people in the world that can say that, and you really take the phrase "you are what you eat" to a completely different level. You took it with a lot more serious than I did. Um,
It's meta. It's meta now.
well, anyway, so you're cooking it. Did anyone have any other than the one who couldn't handle you and spit it out? Did anyone feel different like afterwards? Did they like was it kind of awkward? Was it like did you guys talk about it, or did you have like a closer bond now that you had been inside of all of them?
I think it was definitely a bonding experience for us all to come together like that and sharing that unique thing. It was, you know, not something that's going to bond us all for life, but I am definitely a part of them.
I mean,
So there is that aspect of it.
like you said, it really is like a litmus check, kind of like a heat check. Like you really weeded out who your good friends are. Did anyone say no? Not that that would make them a bad friend. It might make them normal, but did anyone say no when you initially asked them?
They did. And they said, I just don't know if I can do that.
Understandable.
So my best friend at the time, his wife had two daughters from a previous marriage. And one of the daughters was totally down for it.
Right.
And their daughter was like, No, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
What a
Sorry.
prude. Well, would you say that if you were ever given the opportunity to do this again in an ethical situation, whether it be you or one of maybe the friends you were with, would you do it again?
Oh, definitely. I definitely would. It depends on the situation, though. Like, you never want to get in a place where like someone just wants to do it, so they're gonna chop off a piece or anything like that. But if it just came down to where like there was an accident and they want to like do the same thing to bring closure, absolutely, I'd absolutely do it.
Oh, dude. It's honestly kind of beautiful. I was a little on the fence about it before I talked to you, but the more you talk to me about it, the more I wish I could get my foot amputated. Not
Don't say
actually,
that.
but
It's terrible.
yeah.
Don't
But
don't ever keep all your pieces together. That's the thing. Can you make the best of it if it happens, but do whatever you can to keep your pieces together.
and you really did. All right. Well, it was great talking to you, dude. I honestly, this is probably went as good as it could. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Well, that was nasty. Um, yeah, but anyway, that's all for today. I got a lot more in store for all these other episodes. Should be like that, but they'll only get better and better and better and better. But basically, just like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave anything. You guys have no idea how much it helps. Honestly, I have no idea how much it helps. This is my first fucking podcast, but I'm sure it does because everyone tells it to. But I'll see you next time.